Hello students, welcome to this discussion video on the topic Reclassification of Financial Assets. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss the requirement for the reclassification of financial assets between categories. Second, identify financial assets that can be reclassified to other categories. Third, record appropriately the reclassification of financial assets. And fourth, record transactions of financial assets classified as financial assets at fair value through OCI. So first, let's discuss about the requirements for reclassification. So ano ba ang kailangan para ma-allow ang isang financial asset to be reclassified from one measurement or classification to another classification or category? So as mentioned here, the financial asset of an entity can be reclassified when the entity changes its business model for managing the financial assets, and that the reclassification should be applied prospectively from the date of reclassification. Now let us go back. Let's review the different types of business model. These are the different business models that an entity can adopt in accounting for their financial assets. So one is if the business model followed by the entity is to sell financial assets in the near term or very soon, ibig sabihin that particular financial asset should be classified as held for trading, or these are those financial assets which are to be measured at fair value through profit or loss. Another classification is, or business model, is to collect contractual cash flows on specified dates. So ito siya, in this particular business model, this is actually referring to those financial assets which will be measured at amortized cost, wherein the entity's business model is to collect contractual cash flows on specified dates, and these contractual cash flows are solely for principal and interest from that particular financial asset. Then the last one is to collect contractual cash flows and by selling the financial asset. So hindi lang mag-collect na ng principal tsaka interest, but also part of the business model is to sell also the financial assets when it's favorable already and the part of the entity. So that particular business model, ang ating category will be yung mga financial assets at fair value through OCI. So going back, so sabi natin, if there is reclassification, the reclassification shall be applied prospectively from the reclassification date. So, kailan ba yung reclassification date? So, reclassification day is the first day of the reporting period following the change in business model that results in an entity reclassifying the financial assets. So, for example, if the entity changed its business model in 2019, the reclassification date is January 1, 2020. So the first day of the accounting period. So if it happens that the business entity changed its business model in 2020, December 2020, then ibig sabihin nun, the first day of the next accounting period, which is January 1, 2021, will become your reclassification date. So ibig sabihin nun, yan yung date kung saan mo ita-transfer, gagawa ka ng journal entry, ta-transfer mo yung financial assets from the old category to the new applicable na category, depending on the new business model na ipa-follow na ng entity. So, however, take note class that there are exemptions from reclassification. So, hindi lahat ng type of financial assets can be reclassified. So please take note that all equity instruments cannot be reclassified. So ibig sabihin, once you have already initially recognized an equity instrument, no, mga equity investments natin, hindi na siya pwedeng ma-transfer sa ibang category. So for example, equity investment held for trading or measured at fair value through profit or loss cannot be reclassified. Why? Because it's a requirement of PFRS talaga that this particular investment should be measured at fair value through profit or loss. Another is if the equity instrument is measured at fair value through OCI by a revocable election. So ibig sabihin, pag initial recognition mo, you have opted not to present it at fair value through profit or loss, but fair value OCI. So since it's a revocable election, so meaning hindi na pwedeng mabawi. No? Once you have already elected, yun na talaga yung gagamitin mo. Yun yung measurement mo all throughout the life, or meaning all throughout the period where you're holding that particular equity instrument. So therefore, kung hindi pwedeng ma-reclassify yung mga equity instruments, ibig sabihin pala, only debt investments can be reclassified. So take note of that, no? Ang pwede lang nating reclassify, no? Ma-transfer from one category to another category are only debt investment. However, just take note, no, that as long as hindi siya measured at fair value, dapat F ito, fair value through profit or loss by irrevocable election. So for example, if the entity, no, may pinurchase silang debt investment, no, or investment in bonds. Now, if they have elected, no, if they have chosen to classify that particular debt investment under fair value through profit or loss. So sila mismo, no, at their own free will, they have elected na this particular debt investment will be measured at fair value through profit or loss. So since that is by irrevocable election, so there's no way that we can reclassify it in the future. There are actually 6 cases class of reclassification. No? So for example, here, reclassification from fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost. Then meron din tayong reclassification from amortized cost, pabalik naman doon sa fair value through profit or loss. Another is from amortized cost to fair value through OCI, and vice versa from fair value through OCI to amortized cost. And then from fair value through profit or loss to fair value OCI, and vice versa. So meaning from fair value through OCI to fair value through profit or loss. So let us start with the reclassification from the fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost. So ano ba yung mga dapat nating tandaan? So pag mag-reclassify tayo ng financial assets from the fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost, ito yung dapat nating tandaan. So first, the fair value at reclassification date becomes the new carrying amount of the financial assets at amortized cost. So tingnan natin kung magkano ang fair value at reclassification date. Tapos yun yung magiging basis mo, or yun yung i-consider mo as carrying amount, no, sa iyong financial asset at amortized cost. Now, the difference between the new carrying amount, which is again equivalent to the fair value reclassification date, and the face amount of the financial asset, no, yung face value ng bonds natin, i-amortize natin through profit or loss over the remaining life of the financial assets using the effective interest method. So ibig sabihin lang nito, after reclassification, you have to determine either if there is a discount or a premium No, if hindi equal yung ating carrying amount tsaka yung ating face amount, ibig sabihin may discount or premium. And that discount or premium, of course, i-amortize natin using effective interest method. Just like what we do no, sa mga financial assets na i-measure natin at amortized cost. And then lastly, take note of this one. No? A new effective interest rate must be determined based on the new carrying amount or the fair value at reclassification date. So yung ating gagamitin na interest rate or effective interest rate, pa mag-compute tayo ng interest income, will be based on a new effective rate considering no, yung bago natin na carrying amount. Usually, in a problem, ibibigay naman yan no, na magkano na ba ang bagong effective interest rate. And yung bagong effective interest rate natin, yun yung gagamitin natin pang-amortize sa ating bond discount or bond premium. So let us have here an illustration class. So in this illustration, no, on January 1, 2019 daw, yung Simple Company purchased 9% bonds with face amount of 6 million. The bonds mature on January 1, 2024 and were purchased for 5,550,000 to yield 11%. So ito yung dati niyang effective interest. So the entity classified the bonds as held for trading and the interest is payable annually every December 31. So kasi held for trading siya, that is why you are going to measure it at fair value through profit or loss. So the entity provided the following information about the fair value of the bonds and the effective rate are as follows. So first you have for December 31, 2019, the fair value is 5,450,000 with the effective rate of 12%. Another is on December 31, 2020, the fair value naman is 6,150,000 with the effective rate of 8%. So on December 31, 2020, the entity changed the business model for this investment to collect contractual cash flows composed of principal and interest. So, ibig sabihin, from being held for trading, nag-change sila na mag-collect na ng contractual cash flows composed of principal and interest. So, ibig sabihin nun, we are going to measure now our financial assets at amortized cost. So, on January 1, 2021, the fair value of the bonds did not change. So, how do we account for this no? Reclassification from fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost. So first, let's discuss muna yung mga entries no, na gagawin natin pagka-purchase natin sa ating investment. So pinakauna is yung sa January 1, 2019. So we have here, the first entry of course is to recognize the purchase, no, the acquisition of our bonds. So yung ating bonds were purchased at 5,550,000. So ibig sabihin, we are going to debit our trading securities no, at 5,550,000 and we credit cash for 5,550,000. So after that, of course, sunod nating important date will be the date of payment ng interest no or interest payment date. So that will be on December 31. So ito. So that is 6 million times 9%. So we receive cash of 540,000 and we credit interest income at 540,000. So after that, since this is fair value through profit or loss, so we are now to compute no the difference between our fair value and the initial carrying amount. So in this case, for example, our fair value sa December 31, 2019 is 5,450,000. We compare it with our initial measurement of 5,550,000. So there is a difference of 100,000. So bumaba no, from 5,550,000 naging 5,450,000 na lang yung ating fair value. So ibig sabihin, meron tayong unrealized loss amounting to 100,000. No? So this will be our entry. Debit to unrealized loss of 100,000, credit trading securities at 100,000. So as of this point, yung ating unrealized loss which will be reported in your profit or loss is 100,000. And then yung trading securities natin, may balance tayong 5,450,000. Now, pagka next year, 2020, so ganun din, no? You just have to recognize your interest received on December 31. So, walang nabago, 540,000 pa rin kasi wala namang payment, no, sa principal natin. So, you still debit cash, credit ka ng interest income for 540,000. And then, the next thing again to do is to compare our carrying amount with the present, no, or current natin na fair value. So in this case, that's 6,150,000. You compare it with 5,450,000. So there is now a difference of 700,000. So nag-increase yung ating fair value, no, from 5,450,000 naging 6,150,000. And so, meron tayong i-report na unrealized gain. So, this will be our entry. Debit tayo ng trading securities. Tapos, credit tayo ng unrealized gain na 700,000. So, with this entry, yung trading securities natin will be reported na 6,150,000 and our unrealized gain will be reported, of course, in your profit or loss na 700,000. So, just take note that on December 31, 2020, there is now a change in business model. No? And then, because December 31 man tayo nag-change ng business model, ang reclassification date will be on January 1, 2021. Okay? So, ano nga ba ulit yung gagawin natin pag nag-change tayo ng category from fair value to amortized, fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost. So anong gagawin? Ang sabi, yung fair value daw on reclassification date, yun na yung magiging carrying amount mo na invested in bonds mo to be amortized, no? Or under the new category of financial assets at amortized cost. Let's try to account, no, for the reclassification. So ito na yung ating reclassification sa 2021. So January 1, 2021 is our reclassification date. So since from trading securities, no, mag-change na siya ng business model which is to collect contractual cash flows composed of principal and interest. So ibig sabihin nun, this bond investment will be measured at amortized cost. So this is our reclassification. So we debit investment in bonds at 6,150,000. We credit trading securities at 6,150,000. Again, the carrying amount of your bonds which is equivalent to the fair value of the bonds. Na since sabi doon, wala daw change, no, sa fair value ng bonds as of January 1, 2021. So we refer to the fair value on December 31, 2020. So in this case, there's a premium of 150,000, no, sa bonds mo. Kasi mas malaki yung carrying amount natin compared sa face amount which is 6 million lang. So pagdating ng 2021 or December 31, 2021, so ano na ito class, no? We are going to account na for our investment using the rules na ng financial asset at amortized cost. So una, recognize tayo ng ating matatanggap na interest galing sa ating issuer. So debit lang tayo ng cash, credit tayo ng interest income. So 540,000. So aside from that interest, of course, alam natin that there is a need for us to amortize, no, our bond premium. So ito, hindi ko na lang pinakita yung buong amortization schedule, but then you should know that for us to compute our amortization ng premium, you just have to compare your interest received, which is based on the face amount na 6 million, times the nominal rate of 9%. So that's 540,000. And then for your interest income, take note, no, for the interest income, ang sabi doon sa rule is that pag meron daw reclassification from the fair value to from fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost, kailangan nating gumamit no or maghanap ng bagong effective rate based doon sa fair value ng ating financial assets. So in this case, ito yung fair value natin no, on reclassification date and the effective rate is 8%. So that is why yung interest income ko na kinompute, this is based on the carrying amount which is 6,150,000. I multiplied it with the new effective interest rate no, which is 8%. So you have 492,000. So yung amortization is the difference. No? So you have 540,000 minus your 492,000. So the amortization of the premium is 48,000. So to record that, we debit interest income 48,000 and credit investment in bonds at 48,000. Okay? So that's it no for the fair value through profit or loss to amortized cost. Let us now proceed to case 2. This is the reclassification naman from amortized cost to fair value through profit or loss. So, what do we do? So, ito yung rules natin. So, first, the fair value is determined on reclassification date. And then, yung difference between the previous carrying amount and the fair value is recognized immediately to profit or loss. So, we have here illustration here. Console Company on January 1, 2019 purchased a 10% bonds with face amount of 3 million. So the bonds mature on January 1, 2029 and were purchased no, for 3,405,000 to yield 8%. So the entity used the effective interest method of amortization and interest is payable annually every December 31. So the business model for this investment is to collect contractual cash flows composed of interest and principal. So this statement here is telling us that it should be measured, no, this investment should be measured using the amortized cost. However, on December 31, 2020, there is a change no, in the business model. So what they're going to do na is they want no, for this investment to realize their fair value changes. So, naging fair value through profit or loss naman. So, on January 1, 2021, the fair value of the bonds was 2,845,000, an effective rate of 11%. Okay? So, I have here the amortization schedule. So since this is financial assets at amortized cost, of course, no, gawa ka ng amortization schedule. Since initially it was classified or categorized as financial asset at amortized cost. So most probably ito yung ating amortization schedule. No? So start tayo with January 1, 2019. So that's 3,405,000. So yung interest received natin, that's computed as 3 million times 3 million the face value times 10%, the nominal rate, so you have 300,000. Yung interest income naman natin, that is from your carrying amount of 3,405,000 times the effective rate of 8%. So that's why you have here 272,400. Okay? So to get the amortization, you simply get the difference of these two, interest received and interest income. So this is your amortization. Since premium ito, every time may amortization ka, you have to deduct it from your carrying amount. So yung 3,405,000 mo, deduct mo lang ang 27,600. So meron kang 3,377,400. And then, it's just the same no, all throughout the term no, of this particular band. Okay? So proceed tayo sa next na slide. Now, considering this is our amortization schedule, let's try to journalize the transaction. So ito yung entries natin, class. No? So first is, of course, no, yung pag-acquire mo ng investment. So we just debited to invest it in bonds kasi nga at amortized cost ito. Then we credit cash. So pagka December 31, nakatanggap tayo ng interest no because of this investment. So we debit cash and credit interest income. Actually, you can just refer to the amortization schedule. So this amount here, no, 300,000. This one is to recognize the amortization of our premium. So from our amortization table, so ito, 27,600. So ito yung ating journal entry. Debit tayo ng interest income, credit tayo ng investment in bonds. Okay? So now by 2020 naman. So ganun din, no, we have to recognize our risk na yung ating interest na na-receive, no? So you just debit cash of 300,000, credit interest income of 300,000. So that will be from here. Okay? And then the next thing that you have to do is again, you amortized your premium, no? So ito yung ating amortization for 2020. So that's 29,808 pesos. Pagdating ng 2021, kasi di ba sa 2020, nag-change sila ng business model, no, sa 2020. So ibig sabihin, ang reclassification natin will be on January 1, 2021. So anong gagawin natin sa January 1, 2021? So what you're going to do, class, is i-compare natin yung fair value. So ito yung fair value natin. So binigay sa problem, ang sabi sa problem, sa January 1 daw, yung fair value niya ay 2,845,000. So the next thing to do is hanapin natin magkano na bang carrying amount ng ating bonds, no? So as of 2020, this is the carrying amount of our bonds. So 3,347,592. So kaya yan yung ating kinumpare dito sa fair value natin. So meron tayong loss amounting to 502,592. So ano ba ang ating gagawin sa loss na yan? Of course, i-report natin. We have to recognize that loss, no? So this will be our entry. So on January 1, 2021, the reclassification date, what you have to do is to recognize loss on reclassification of financial asset for that amount, 502,592. And you credit investment in bonds. Okay? So as of this point, yung ating investment in bonds ay meron na lang balance na 2,845,000. Okay? So lastly, i-reclassify mo na. No, yung investment in bonds mo, gawin mo ng financial assets at fair value through profit or loss. So this will be your account title. No? Ito yung account title natin. Financial asset at fair value through profit or loss. So 2,845,000. And of course, credit natin yung ating investment in bonds. So pag credit mo yung investment in bonds natin, ibig sabihin mazi-zero out na yan. Okay, so that is for reclassification from amortized cost to fair value through profit or loss. So let's proceed to the third case, no? So this is case 3. Reclassification naman from amortized cost to financial assets at fair value through OCI naman. So ano ba yung dapat nating tandaan? So kapag ang ating reclassification is from amortized cost to fair value OCI, so ito yung ating mga guidelines. So first, the financial asset is measured at fair value at reclassification date. Tapos, any difference na between the amortized cost and the carrying amount and the fair value at reclassification date is recognized in OCI. Kasi nga OCI ito, no, yung ating pagpapupuntahan, no, or bagong business model, ang ating bagong applicable na business model. So the difference yun, the difference between the amortized cost and carrying amount and the fair value reclassification is recognized in OCI. Take note that the original effective interest rate is not adjusted. So in this problem also we'll discuss kung paano i-account yung fair value through OCI kasi hindi natin siya na-discuss before. So this is our illustration. So on January 1, 2019, minor company purchased bonds with a face amount of 2 million for 1.9 million, including a transaction cost of 100,500. So the business model in managing the financial asset is to collect contractual cash flows, which are solely payments of principal and interest the entity did not elect the fair value option. So, ibig sabihin, class, itong investment na ito ay mineasure siya at amortized cost. So, the bonds mature on December 31, 2021, and it pay 8% interest annually. So, 8% here is our nominal interest rate. On December 31 of each year with an effective yield of 10%. So 10% is our effective interest. So on December 31, 2019, the entity changed the business model to collect contractual cash flows and sell the financial asset in the open market. The bonds are quoted at 110 on July 1, 2020 and 120 on December 31, 2020. Okay, so paano ba natin re-record yung mga transactions related to this investment? So we have here first, no, kasi nga ito ay amortized cost man. So of course, it's expected that you'll have amortization of your bond discount. So dito meron tayong bond discount because your fees amount is 2 million, yet the acquisition cost is only 1.9 million. So meron tayong 100,000 difference, and that is our bond discount, which will be amortized, of course. So using the effective interest method of amortization, so this will be our amortization schedule. So take note, class, no, yung transaction cost pala na 100,500, tama lang na in-include siya sa ating acquisition cost. Kasi 'di ba, pag ating classification ay financial assets at amortized cost, yung transaction cost will be capitalized. So tama na ang ato ang carrying amount is 1.9 talaga as of January 1, 2019. So paano ba prepare, no, yung ano yung computations natin sa schedule of amortization? So una, of course, plot lang natin yung carrying amount natin. Tapos pagdating ng December 31, 2019, makakatanggap tayo ng interest, no, which is 8%. So that's 2 million times 8%. So you have 160,000. Na yung interest income natin ay based doon sa carrying amount natin na 1.9 times our effective interest rate of 10%. So you have 190,000. Then you get the difference. So 190,000 minus 160,000. So meron tayong amortization of 30,000. So yung 30,000 na to, of course, you're going to add it, no, to your carrying amount since discount ito. So every time there's an amortization, you have to add it para ang carrying amount mo at pagdating ng maturity date ng bonds na ito ay mag-equal na sa face amount. Okay? So the same is true for the succeeding na mga years, no, like here in 2020. Ganun din. So this is 2 million times 8%. So 160,000. This one is 1,930,000 times the effective rate of 10%. So you have 193,000. So 33,000 is from 193,000 minus 160,000. So yung 33,000 inad doon sa carrying amount na 1,930,000 para makuha ito. So for the last year, so ano na lang ito, class, no? Squeeze out natin, work back natin para to ensure that the carrying amount will be equivalent na to 2 million, no? To the face value of 2 million. So yan, work back na lang. So kinuha ang difference ng carrying amount na 2 million versus the previous carrying amount. So dapat yung amortization should be 37,000. So kung 37,000 ang amortization, i-add lang natin yung interest received para makuha natin yung total natin na interest income. Okay? So let's proceed to the entries na. Try natin journalize na yung mga transactions pertaining to this investment. So this will be our journal entry for 2019. So on January 1, when we acquired the investment, so this is our entry with debit investment in bonds, credit cash of 1.9 million. So pagdating ng year end, which is also the interest payment date, no, which is December 31. So ito yung ating natanggap. Debit tayo ng cash, credit tayo ng interest income for the interest na that we received from the issuer. Then another entry for the amortization of our bond discount. So we debit investment in bonds for 30,000, credit interest income for 30,000. So take note that on December 31, 2019, there was a change already, no, in the business model. So ang gusto nila, aside from collecting contractual cash flows, gusto din nilang mag-sell, no, ng financial asset in the open market. So therefore, based on the business model na gusto nilang i-adapt, i-measure na natin ang ating investment at fair value through OCI. So kasi yun yung applicable na measurement or category, no, para sa kanilang bagong business model. So with that, our reclassification date will be January 1, 2020. Ito yung magiging itsura ng ating investment in bonds. So we have ending balance or carrying amount as of December 31, 2019 of 1,930,000. So yan, 1,930,000. So pagka next year, again, this is now the reclassification date. So on January 1, sabi di ba, dapat i-reclassify lang natin yung ating financial assets. So ang gagawin natin, yung balanse natin sa December 31, 2019, reclass natin to financial assets, FDOCI. So you have 1,930,000. So credit natin yung investment in bonds natin. So with that entry, ang mangyayari is masi-zero out na yung ating investment in bonds. Okay? And then, this entry here, gusto nating mag-equal yung balance ng financial asset at fair value through OCI natin sa fair value ngayong January 1, 2020. So, based on the problem, yung fair value daw is 110% of 2 million. So, you have 2.2 million. That's 2 million times 110%. So, compare natin with our carrying amount of 1,930,000. So, meron tayong unrealized gain na 270,000 which will be reported in our OCI. So, ito yung ating entry class. We debit financial asset at fair value through OCI. Credit unrealized gain at OCI of 270,000. So, this will be now the balance, no, of your financial asset at fair value through OCI. So, first you have 1,930,000. Then, add natin yung ating increase, no, sa fair value na 270,000. So, this will be our fair value through OCI. So, yung financial asset natin at fair value through OCI. So, since the financial assets has been classified already as financial asset at fair value through OCI. So let us try to account, no, the financial asset with the provisions or rules that we have in accounting for financial assets at fair value through OCI. So take note that yung FDOCI, the business model that the entity is following now is to collect for the contractual cash flows, that is the principal plus interest. And aside from that, they also want to sell their financial assets. So with that, dito sa financial assets at fair value through OCI class, hindi lang ang fair value yung ating i-consider, but also we have to compute for amortization. So ito yung kaibahan ng financial asset at fair value through OCI ng debt security sa equity security. Kasi dito, there is a need for us to compute for the amortization, no, of our either bond discount or bond premium. So let's try to proceed, no, and record transactions related to our financial assets, no, considering that it is now again a financial asset at fair value through OCI. So the next entry would be for the receipt of our interest, no, on December 31. So this will be our entry. So we debit cash and then we credit interest income. So take note, our principal is 2 million and our nominal interest rate is 8%. Now, for our amortization schedule, so take note that based on the provision, sabi doon, hindi mag-change yung effective interest na gagamitin, no? Kahit na nag-change tayo to financial assets at fair value through OCI. So there's no change in the effective interest rate. So therefore, yung amortization schedule na ating na-compute or na-prepare kanina ay applicable pa din siya, no? Kahit na FVOCI na ang ating financial asset. So with that, etong 33,000 na to, ito yung applicable na amortization for 2022. So to record that amortization, this will be our entry. So since this is a discount, a band discount, so every amortization we have to add. No? So i-debit natin siya at financial asset, at fair value through OCI, and we credit interest income. So this will be the updated balance, no? The updated carrying amount of our asset or financial asset after the recognition of the amortization. So we started with 1,930,000 and then inad natin yung increase sa fair value na 270. So we have 2.2 million. Tapos ngayon, idagdag natin yung amortization ng bond discount na 33,000. So yung carrying amount ng ating financial asset at fair value through OCI is 2,233,000. So itong amount na to, ito yung amount na i-compare naman natin sa fair value pagdating ng December 31, 2020. So in this problem, yung fair value daw ng ating financial asset is 120% na by December 31, 2020. So that's given in the problem. So you can review the problem and on the last statement, sinabi doon kung magkano ang fair values, no? In this case, fair value ng December 31, 2020 is also given. So sabi niya doon is 120%. 420 yung quoted price niya. So if you're going to convert that into peso value, that's 120% of the face amount, which is 2 million. So kaya meron tayong 2.4 million. So we compare that amount to our carrying amount na 2,233,000 as what we have computed here. So meron tayong difference na 167,000 which we consider as unrealized gain, which will be reported in your OCI. So this will be our entry to recognize this unrealized gain OCI. So we debit financial asset FVOCI at 167,000 and we credit unrealized gain OCI at 167,000. So if you are to plot that in our P account, ito yung magiging itsura ng ating P account. So take note here, after adding or after posting our entry, nung pag-recognize natin ang unrealized gain OCI natin, yung ating financial asset at fair value through OCI ay nag-equal na sa kanyang fair value, which is 2.4 million. Also, our unrealized gain OCI will be, ito na yung magiging balance niya. So, you have first, yung 270,000 and then the second one will be yung 167,000. So, yung unrealized gain natin na OCI is 437,000. So, just take note that this amount will accumulate over time. No? So, it will be carried forward to the next accounting period. So, there you go. That's how you account for FVOCI. No? So, both the reclassification from amortized cost, and then 2 FBOCI. Tapos we also discussed na kung paano natin i-account yung FBOCI, of which natutunan natin na para dalawa yung gagawin mo, no, for FBOCI. So one is to still recognize amortization, and the other one is to ensure that the ending balance of our financial asset at fair value through OCI will be equivalent to the latest or the current na fair value. So now let us proceed with the next na case. This is case number 4, wherein the reclassification will be from FVOCI to amortized cost naman. So baliktad naman tayo, no? Patungong amortized cost naman. So what are the rules, no, or the guides? So first, the fair value dot the reclassification date becomes the new amortized cost or carrying amount. The cumulative gain or loss previously recognized in OCI is eliminated and adjusted against the fair value at reclassification date. So in effect, you are reverting back, no, the investment to the amortized cost measurement. Kasi you are going to eliminate, no, your cumulative gain or loss OCI. Then lastly, the original effective interest rate is not also adjusted. So as is lang yung effective interest na ating gagamitin. Proceed tayo dito sa illustration natin. So on January 1, 2019, Simple Company purchased bonds with a face amount of 5 million. So the entity paid 4.5 million plus a transaction cost of 168,600. So the bonds mature on December 31, 2022 and pay 6% interest annually on December 31 of each year with an 8% effective yield. The bonds are quoted at 105 on December 31, 2019 and 110 on December 31, 2020. So the business model in managing the financial asset is to collect contractual cash flows and also sell the bonds in an open market. So the entity has not elected the fair value option. So this statement here is telling us that the entity is actually accounting for their investment in bonds under FVOCI. Kasi aside from collecting contractual cash flows, they also intend to sell the bonds in the open market. So on December 31, 2020, the entity changed the business model to collect only contractual cash flows. So therefore, mag-change siya to collect only contractual cash flow. So ibig sabihin nun, dapat i-amortize, dapat gamitin na natin or i-account natin siya under amortized cost. So on December 31, 2021, the bonds are quoted at 115 and the market rate of interest is 10%. So this is our amortization schedule. So start tayo with January 1, 2019. So take note the carrying amount here is 4,668,600. That's composed of the 4.5 million plus the transaction cost of 168,600. So since this is FDOCI, yung transaction cost will be capitalized. So with that, no, pwede na tayong gumawa ng amortization schedule. Start tayo with the interest received. So that's 5 million times the nominal interest rate of 6%. So you have 300,000. So for the interest income, that's actually your carrying amount times the effective yield of 8%. So you have 373,488. So for the amortization, that's just the difference between the interest income and our interest received. So meron tayong 73,488. So yung amount na to, kasi this is a discount, so you have to add it, no, to your carrying amount. So you have 4,742,088. So the same is true for the succeeding years, no, in 2022 and in 2021. So for 2022, all you have to do here is just to work it back. No? So make sure that the ending balance here, the carrying amount here should be 5 million. So you just have to adjust, no, or work back kung magkano yung amortization natin, which can be completed by deducting your 5 million or your 4,907,171 from your 5 million na ending clearing amount. So nakuha natin ito, tapos i-add lang natin sa interest received para makuha natin ang ating total na interest income. So let's have the journal entries. So i-account natin from FDOCI muna tayo. So for 2019, so pag-acquire nila sa investments, ito yung entry natin. So yung debit financial asset, FDOCI, credit tayo ng cash for 4,668,600. So pagdating ng December 31, of course, it's interest payment date, nakatanggap tayo ng 300,000 na interest. So you just debit cash and credit interest income. Now, kasi nga FVOCI ito, kailangan natin mag-compute ng amortization. So based on the amortization schedule, yung amortization natin for December 31, 2019 or for year 2019 is 73,488. So i-record natin yan. So since this is discount, you have to debit your financial asset, FVOCI, for that amount and credit interest income for 73,488. So after that entry, ito na yung magiging itsura ng ating FVOCI or financial asset FVOCI. So from 4,668,600, madadagdagan siya ng 73,488. So meron na tayong carrying amount na 4,742,088. So that reconciles na to the amount na nandito sa ating schedule of amortization. So pagkatapos natin ma-establish yung carrying amount ng ating financial asset FVOCI, the next thing to do is to compare it with the fair value pagdating ng 2019. So, or December 31, 2019. So, sabi doon, the fair value na pagdating ng 2019 ay 5,250,000. So, take note, given yan siya class sa problem. So, based on the problem, the bonds are quoted at 105 on December 31, 2019 and 110 on December 31, 2020. So accordingly, the fair value is computed as 105% of the face amount of 5 million. So our carrying amount as computed, that's 4,742,088. And if you're going to compare that with the fair value, it appears that we have unrealized gain OCI amounting to 507,912. So mas malaki yung fair value natin compared sa ating carrying amount. And then, ito i-recognize natin by debiting, of course, your financial asset, FDOCI, at that amount, 507,912, and credit unrealized gain OCI at that amount also, 507,912. So therefore, yung ating T account ng financial asset, FDOCI natin ay magiging ganito na. So at the end of December 31, 2019, yung balanse ng ating financial asset FDOCI ay equivalent na sa fair value ng ating financial asset, which is 105% of your face amount na 5 million. So also, yung ating unrealized gain OCI, merong balanse na 507,912. Now, pagdating ng 2020 or 2020, so ito naman yung ating mga entries. So una, of course, yung na-receive natin na interest galing kay issuer. So debit lang tayo ng cash, credit tayo ng interest income. Again, that's based on the nominal rate. That's 5 million times the nominal rate of 6%. Tapos, we will recognize again our amortization in the amount of 79,367. So this will be our entry. So of course, after that, ito yung magiging itsura ng ating financial asset at fair value OCI. Magiging 39,367 yung balanse ng ating financial asset FVOCI. So the same lang din. So pagkatapos nating ma-establish yung carrying amount natin, hanapin natin kung magkano ang fair value ng ating financial asset ngayon. So accordingly, this is 110%. So based on sa problem, 110% daw ang fair value pagdating ng December 31, 2020. So that's 5 million times 110%. So you have 5.5 million. So we compare that again with the carrying amount as that we have computed here after considering the amortization of our bond discount. So you have a difference of 170,633. So if you are to record this, you simply debit financial asset FVOCI at 170,633 and credit unrealized gain OCI at 170,633. So after that, of course, ito yung magiging itsura na yung ating financial asset FVOCI ay magkakaroon na ng ending balance na 5.5 million which is equivalent to the fair value no na na-mention sa problem. It's 100% based on the face amount. And your unrealized gain OCI will have a balance now of 678,545. Now take note that on December 31, 2020, dito yung merong change ng business model. So gusto nila instead of collecting contractual cash flows plus selling their financial assets, gusto nilang mag-change ng business models. Gusto na lang nila na mag-collect na lang ng contractual cash flow. So therefore, kailangan nating i-reclassify yung ating financial asset. No? So from FVOCI, dapat gawin nating amortized cost. So paano yun? No? Let's have here 2021. So ito yung ating financial asset FVOCI at the end of 2020, no? December 31, 2020. So dito sa 2021, kasi first reclassification date natin yung January 1. By the way, this is the account for the unrealized gain OCI. No? So you have a total of 678,545. So let's reclassify our financial asset from FVOCI, gawin nating investment in bonds. So since walang sinabi or yung fair value daw ng January 1, 2021 ay wala namang changes based on sa December 31, 2020 na fair value. So we have to reclassify our investment into a debit to investment in bonds and credit financial asset FVOCI. So with this entry, of course, mag-zero out na yung ating financial asset FVOCI. We also have another entry. So take note of this one. So sabi doon sa ating guidelines or sa ating guide na kung galing sa FVOCI daw, yung cumulative na unrealized gain, OCI or unrealized loss, OCI, ay dapat i-close natin, tanggalin na natin siya from our records and we have to reflect that as an adjustment to our investment account. So that's why here, to close your unrealized gain OCI, you are debiting unrealized gain OCI by 678,545 and we credit investment in bonds at 678,545. So, anong effect ng entry na to? Ang effect ng entry na to is actually you are trying to revert, you're trying to revert your investment to the amortized cost na balance. So, this will be the effect, for our unrealized gain OCI. Itong entry na to will zero out the unrealized gain OCI. So, tinanggal na natin from our records. For the meantime, yung ating investment in bonds naman, magiging ganito yung itsura. Una, meron tayong dinebit na 5.5 million. Tapos, because of the adjustment, meron na lang tayong 678,545. So just to prove na parang na-revert yung ating investment, ang ating financial assets to amortized cost, So kung titingnan natin dito, yung balance na ng ating investment in bonds ay 821,455. So if you're going to, and this is, take note, this is as of this is as of January 1, 2021. So the first reclassification date. So kung titingnan natin ang ating amortization schedule, so you look at this, no, yung December 31, 2020 natin, so prior to the reclassification date, ito yung carrying amount per amortization schedule. So that amount, take note, reconciles with our records now, no? So which is 4,821,455. Okay? So na-revert na yung ating financial asset into amortized cost. So since naging amortized cost na to, we can now proceed, no, to the next na mga transactions. So the next transaction would be the receipt of the interest that the issuer of the bonds will give us, no, or will give this company. So dito na tayo sa third year na. So you have 300,000. So we debit cash, we credit interest income for 300,000. Okay? So after that, recognize tayo ng amortization ulit. In this case, that's 85,716. So yung entry natin, debit investment in bonds, credit interest income for the same amount, 85,716. So ano yung effect ng entry na yan? So the effect is, no, if you're going to add your 85,716, actually, yung balance natin is 4,907,171. So if you're going to go back to the statement or to the amortization schedule, it's the same amount, no, that will reflect in our schedule. So that's it for the FVOCI to amortized cost. So proceed tayo dito sa FVPL or financial asset at fair value through profit or loss to FVOCI naman. So ano yung ating mga guide, no, na dapat nating consider if you're going to reclassify FVPL to FVOCI. So una, the financial asset continues to be measured at fair value kasi pares lang naman sila, no, na fair value. The fair value at reclassification date becomes the new carrying amount. And then take note of this one, no? There is a need for us to compute for a new effective interest rate, no, based on the new carrying amount or the fair value at reclassification date. So since yung ating yung parang ang ating updated na business model is gagamit na ng FVOCI. And then FVOCI, kailangan nating mag-amortize, no? So pag mag-amortize tayo ng either bond discount or premium, gagamit na tayo ng bagong effective interest rate. So this is our illustration. So you have here on January 1, 2019, Kyle Company purchased 6% bonds with a face amount of 4 million. So the bonds mature on January 1, 2024 and were purchased for 3,530,000 to yield 9%. So the entity classified the bonds as held for trading and interest is payable annually every December 31. So here's the fair value. So yung December 31, 2019, you have 3,490,000. The effective rate is 10%. December 31, 2020, the fair value is 3,425,000. The effective rate is 12%. On December 31, 2019, the entity changed the business model to collect contractual cash flows and sell the financial asset in the open market. So naging FVOCI na. So on January 1, 2020, the fair value of the bonds did not change. So how do we account for this? So una, of course, no, yung January 1, 2019, record lang muna natin kung paano niya in-account, no, yung kayang investment under FVPL. So the first would be the journal entries. So una yung sa acquisition natin. So you have 3,530,000. So you have financial asset, FVPL. Credit tayo ng cash ng 3,530,000. Then, yung December 31, recognition of the cash received from the issuer of the bonds is 4 million times the 6% na nominal interest. So you have 240,000. So since ito ay fair value through profit or loss, so hanapin natin yung ating fair value pagdating ng December 31, 2019. So sabi dito, that's 3,490,000. So yan. So we're going to compare that with our carrying amount, no? Magkano bang carrying amount natin? So nagbase pa tayo sa initial measurement, which is 3,530,000. So it turned out that your financial asset decreased, no, by 40,000. So to record that, you debit unrealized loss, which will be reported in your profit or loss, and credit financial asset FDPL, no, for 40,000. Now, take note, in December 31, 2019, there's a change already in the business model. No? So from FDPL, dapat maging FBOCI na pagdating ng January 1. So how do we account for that? So anyway, this is the account of your financial asset FVPL at the end of December 31, 2019. So yung balance natin ay equivalent sa fair value, which is 3,490,000. Okay, so for the next year, so this is our reclassification ng ating financial asset. So yung T-account natin ay ganito na ang magiging itsura. So your financial asset FDPL will be closed, and of course, mata-change or mata-transfer siya, mare-reclassify siya to financial asset FVOCI, so which is 3,490,000. So ngayon na FVOCI na ito, i-account na natin ang ating financial asset at fair value OCI na. So ano yung mga important dates? Una, the interest payment date. So sa December 31, makakatanggap tayo ng 240,000. That's your 4 million na face amount times yung ating nominal rate, which is 6%. Okay, tapos after this, we have to recognize, of course, amortization. So this is the amortization schedule. So start tayo with the 1st January 1, 2020. Yung carrying amount natin is 3,490,000. So ito yung ating schedule of amortization. You know already how to compute for this. Just take note that the interest income here is computed using the new effective interest rate. So that's 10%. No? So that will be 3,490,000 times the new effective interest rate, which is already given based on the problem. So as mentioned here, no, on December 31, 2019, the fair value is 3,490,000 and it has an effective rate of 10%. So this 10% here will be the new effective rate that you're going to use when you are going to amortize your discount. So that is why here your interest income is computed as 3,490,000 times 10%. So that's how we compute now for the 349,000. And this amount will then be deducted from the interest received, which is based on the face value times the nominal rate, no, of 6%. That's 4 million times 6%. So you have 240,000. It turned out that our amortization for December 31, 2020 is 109,000. So ito siya. So kung mag-record tayo with debit, financial asset, FVOCI at 109,000, we credit interest income for 109,000 kasi nga this is a bond discount, no? So there is a bond discount. So every time you amortize, you add it, no, in the carrying amount of your financial asset. Pagkatapos nating ma-compute or mag-recognize ng amortization, the next thing to do is hanapin na natin yung fair value. So according to the problem, yung fair value daw, pagdating ng December 31, 2020 is 3,490,000. 425,000. So let's try to check the problem. Based on the problem, this is the problem, yung ating fair value sa December 31, 2020 is 3,425,000. So going back here, if you're going to compare your fair value, which is 3,425,000 with the carrying amount. So the carrying amount based on the amortization schedule is 3,599,000, and actually it's the same amount dito sa ating T account kasi nga itong 3,490,000 ay madadagdagan ng 109,000. So yung carrying amount natin before the recognition of the fair value is 3,599,000. So there is now again a loss amounting to 174,000, and that loss class will be recognized, will be recorded, and will be reported in your OCI. So the entry will be a debit to unrealized loss OCI at 174,000 and credit FDOCI at 174,000. So ito yung magiging itsura ng ating financial asset FDOCI. So ito yung initial na recognition, then ito yung amortization ng discount, ito yung balance, carrying amount, ito yung entry natin because of the reduction in the fair value. So may decrease ng fair value amounting to 174,000. So ito na lang yung ating ending na carrying amount, which is 3,425,000, which is equivalent to our fair value. So our unrealized loss OCI has a balance of 174,000. So that's how you account yung reclassification from FVTL to FVOCI. So for the last case, this is case number 6. So reclassification naman from FVOCI to profit or loss. The guidelines are, first, the financial asset continues to be measured at fair value. Then the fair value reclassification date becomes the new carrying amount. Tapos, take note of this one, the cumulative gain or loss previously recognized in OCI is reclassified to profit or loss on reclassification date. So take note of this because this is something different, because the reclassification of our unrealized gain or unrealized loss previously recognized in OCI will be reclassified to profit or loss on reclassification date. So let's have the sample problem. So on January 1, 2019, Ken Company purchased 8% bonds with face amount of 4 million. The bonds mature in January 1, 2024 and were purchased for 4,335,000 to yield 6%. Interest is payable annually every December 31. So the business model for this investment is to collect contractual cash flows composed of principal and interest to sell the asset in the open market. So ito yung ating information about the fair value and the effective rate. So on December 31, 2019, the fair value is 3,870,000. The effective rate is 9%. December 31, 2020, the fair value is 3,615,000. The effective rate is 12%. On December 31, 2019, the entity changed the business model for this investment to realize their fair value changes. So magiging FVPL na siya. On January 1, 2020, the fair value of the bonds did not change. So to account for this one, let's have muna its amortization schedule. Kasi nga, this is FVOCI. So kailangan mag-amortize tayo. So gamit natin is yung 6% na interest rate. So you have here, this is your carrying amount, 4,335,000. Interest received is 8% of 4 million. Interest income is 6% of 4,335,000. Amortization, that's the difference between 320 and 260,100. So yan. So every time you are going to amortize, because this is a premium, you have to deduct it from your carrying amount. So 4,335,000 minus 59,900. So meron tayong 4,275,100. And so on, no? Dito sa iyong succeeding na mga years. So ano yung entry natin? FVOCI tayo. So our first entry, of course, is to record the acquisition of our bonds. So that's financial asset FVOCI, credit cash, no, for 4,335,000. The next entry pertains to the interest that we received, no, during interest payment dates. So we just debit cash and credit interest income for 320,000. So next would be the amortization, no, recognition of the amortization. So this will be our entry. Since this is a premium, we debit interest income and credit financial asset FD OCI. So ito yung magiging itsura ng P account natin as of December 31, 2019. Meron na lang tayong balanse na 4,275,100. So after that, compare natin siya sa fair value. So sabi dito sa problem, yung fair value daw as of December 31, 2019 ay 3,870,000. So compare lang natin, 3,870,000 by the carrying amount which is 4,275,100. So there is unrealized loss OCI amounting to 405,100. So to record that, you just debit unrealized loss OCI, 405,100. Credit financial asset FVOCI at 405,100. So ito yung magiging itsura na ng ating financial asset FVOCI after the recognition of our unrealized loss. No? So, yung ating balanse as of December 31, 2019 is equivalent na sa fair value na 3,870,000. So, this is now the balance of our unrealized loss OCI. So, we have 405,000. Now, take note again that on December 31, 2019, there is now a change in the business model. So, gusto na nilang mag-realize the fair value changes. So, magiging FDTL na yung ating financial asset. So, sa reclassification date, this will be our entry. So, since walang changes daw sa fair value, what we have to do is just reclassify, no? We'll just credit our financial asset FVOCI and debit it to FD or financial asset FVTL. We will account this as an investment under financial asset at fair value through profit or loss. So this will be the effect of this reclassification entry. We are closing our financial asset FVOCI account. Then we transfer it to financial asset FVTL account. So ito yung ating balanse. So after that, no, yung interest payment date na natin. So after that, no, another thing that you have to do kapag from FVOCI to FVTL is to close your previously recognized, no, na unrealized gain or unrealized loss OCI. Transfer natin siya sa unrealized gain or unrealized loss which will be reported na in your profit or loss. So with this this is the entry. We debit unrealized loss, profit or loss na 405,100. So in short, this will be included in the computation of your profit or loss for the period, no, for 2020. And then we credit unrealized loss OCI. So what will be the effect of that? No? So you're closing your unrealized loss OCI. Closed na yan. Transfer natin sa unrealized loss na profit or loss. So next would be the interest payment date. So ito yung ating interest na mare-receive, no? That's again 4 million times 8%. So we have 320,000. So after that, compare natin yung ating carrying amount with the recent na ating fair market value. So fair market value natin sa December 31. So according to the problem, yung fair value natin by December 31, 2020 is 3,615,000. So, ibig sabihin dito, no, yung 3,615,000 natin na fair value, compare lang natin with our carrying amount na 3,870,000. So, turned out that mas maliit yung ating bagong fair value compared sa ating carrying amount. So, meron tayong unrealized loss, which is now, of course, profit or loss na siya, amounting to 255,000. So, ito yung ating entry, debit unrealized loss, profit or loss, 255,000, credit financial asset at fair value through profit or loss na 255,000. So, if you're going to look at the account, ito yung maging updated na balance niya. So, yung yung financial asset FVPL natin, I will have a balance of 3,615,000, which is equivalent to the fair value as of December 31, 2020. Whereas, yung unrealized loss mo, profit or loss, for the year 2020 will be a total of 660,100. So that amount will be reported in your profit or loss. And that's it. No? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you and bye.